Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 9 of Rob Wells Music Talk. I am your host, Rob Wells, and today we are going to be talking about co-writing. Many things about co-writing. The benefits of co-writing, the do's and don'ts of a great co-writing session, why I co-write rather than just writing by myself, and many, many other great things. So here we go. First of all, there are many benefits of co-writing. The very first benefit of co-writing is just having somebody else in the room to bounce your ideas off. So, for example, if I have an idea and I'm coming into the room and I think it's going to be about the sky is blue, then I'll bounce that off the co-writer, and the co-writer might say, well, what about if the sky is blue, but plus there's an airplane flying through the sky? I'm just giving a really, really basic example, but that's kind of what it's like in a great co-writing session, where you bring an idea in and you bounce it off somebody else and they come back to you with another idea on top of that that maybe challenges your idea or makes your idea better in the long run. It's kind of like having a great game of tennis. You wouldn't want to play just by yourself and just banging against the wall. I mean, that's fun for a little while, but after a while you get tired of it. It's great to have somebody on the other side of the court and you're hitting that ball, and then the ball gets hit back to you and you have no idea which way the ball is going to come, whether it's going to come straight at you or to the side or up or down or fast or slow or whatever. It's all over the map. So the same thing goes with a great co-writing session. It's just a great way to take your idea and elevate it. Sort of, you know, if it's going well, it's like, here's the idea, then it gets better, then it gets better, then it gets better, then it gets better, then it gets better. And together you come together and you make something that's really, really quite cool. I was a little bit hesitant to co-writing at the very beginning when it was first explained to me, just because it sounded weird to share your ideas with somebody else. But you have to know that quite often your idea will become stronger. It will become much, much better than it was in the first place. Don't be afraid to give your idea out to a co-writing session. If your co-writing session is going horribly off track and it has nothing to do with your original idea, you can always say at the end of it, is it cool if I take this idea back and use it for something else? If the song has become completely something different based off of your idea. The next benefit that I want to talk about with co-writing is definitely when you have more than one person writing the song, you have more than one interest in getting that song out there and having success for that song. So it's not just you shopping the song, it's you plus your co-writer. Maybe you have one other co-writer, maybe you have 2 other co-writers, maybe you have 3 other co-writers, and you all go out into the world with this finished track, and you're all trying to find a place for this song. So your chances of finding placement are now twice as good, 3 times as good, 4 times as good, however many co-writers that are out there. So that's fantastic right there, right on its own. The chances for getting that song out there and getting it into projects are that much greater. Another benefit to having a co-writer in a room is, for example, if you are a great musician and not a great lyricist. Maybe you have some lyrical ideas, but your lyrics aren't as great as they could be. Having somebody in the room with you that's an amazing lyricist, but not a great musician, you can both come together and your forces can join together to make an amazing song. Now, there are definitely many responsibilities for a co-writer. If you are a co-writing writer, there are things that you have to do within the session to just make it a great session. And we're going to get through right now what I call the do's and don'ts for a great co-writing session. So first and foremost, with co-writing, I've seen it all. I've been in so many different situations with so many different writers, so many different artists. I've seen great co-writing sessions. I've seen terrible co-writing sessions. I've been a part of both. Mostly great co-writing sessions. The odd time, maybe once a year, I get to do a co-write that's kind of, get me out of there as soon as possible. Here's basically what I've seen and what I would recommend to you to have a great co-writing session. So the very first thing is, when you come into a co-writing session, don't come in bragging about what you've done and what you're working on and blah, 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 all of that. None of that really, really matters. When you come into a writing room, everyone is equal. All that matters is what's in the room, what talents are in the room, what personalities, what behavior, what emotions, what inspiration. That's all that matters. That's really all that matters. The moment that there's any ego or any attitude, it really just destroys the session very, very quickly. The moment that anyone starts tooting their own horn and mentioning the success that they're having or that they've had, people either get nervous or they get annoyed and the session falls apart really, really quickly. I can't tell you the amount of times that somebody's come in and said, do you know that I've got this cut with this person and that person, and I've got this going on and that going on? And my usual response is just, great, cool, let's write a song. I just try to squash that stuff right away because it's not important. All that's important is getting together and writing the song and finding out what personality is that you're working with and using that personality and that talent to draw out the best song that you possibly can. Being humble, alert, and nice goes a very, very long way in a co-writing session. Just being a good person, making it professional, and being very, very pleasant and talented, and that you couldn't ask for any more. Also in a co-writing session, you're going to find that you are going to work with all kinds of artists. Pop, country, urban, folk, R&B, TV shows, whatever, all that. It changes from day to day. You have to be versatile, and you have to listen to everything and find the joy in all styles of music. You can't go into a co-writing session and find out, I'm writing a country song today and I'm not a great country writer, so I'm not going to do that. If you want to be a professional songwriter and make this rock, you have to be able to jump in and figure out what makes a great country song by listening to great country songs and just knowing what makes it tick and all of that. So my first lesson is definitely do be versatile. Be open to all styles of music, listen to everything. Even if you don't like that style of music, try and find one good thing out of every song that you hear. And you'll find that after a few listens of a certain kind of music, and you're finding one good thing out of each song that you're listening to, suddenly you'll find an appreciation for that style of music. So just be open to all styles of music, listen to all styles of music, mix it up, and you'll find yourself being a better songwriter, a better co-writer, and a versatile co-writer. Once again, my next lesson is do leave your attitude at the door. Don't bring bad vibes or stress into a songwriting session. Man, I had a session just a couple years ago where I was working with an artist and the manager came in and completely freaked out and ruined the session. And I've never worked with that manager again just because it's just been a crazy situation. So things like that, you don't want to come in if you're having a hard time at home or something else is going on in your mind and you can't deal with being professional and being a co-writer on that day or being a part of the session, then you definitely shouldn't be part of that session. You should call it and just say, I'm not feeling great. Don't bring your attitude in. Don't bring your anger in. Don't bring your upsetness into the session. It just has no place. Here's another great thing. If you are starting with co-writing, do work with anybody and everybody. Try everything. Experiment. Hold on to the people that you love and let go of the ones that you hate. Build a team of people that really, really work for you, and you'll find that you are going to get great success. Do talk at the beginning of every co-writing session, no matter what. No matter what anyone says. Spend a half an hour, spend an hour just talking about things, and you'll find that within that conversation, quite often there will be ideas that spark the genesis of the song that you're going to work on that day. If you find that it's really hard to work with somebody and they're not opening up and they've got walls around them, sometimes it's great to just get out of the room and go together for a walk or go grab a bite to eat and just have a nice little conversation. Sometimes we even play things like Cards Against Humanity, where it's just you play this game and you play your cards and it's everyone's laughing and having a great time, and then all of a sudden at the end of it, everyone's cool and totally able to say whatever it is that they want and not feel afraid in any sort of way to be creative and open in front of the people that they're writing with. My next do not in co-writing do's and don'ts is definitely do not come to a session drunk or high, however hungover, tired, or depressed, just like you wouldn't do for a shift at work. Basically, just be a professional. I've had people come in and say they can't write unless they're completely high, and it's just, I have yet to see anybody that can write high or write drunk. And, I'm sure that they can write that way, but is it good at the end of the day? Most likely not. Do bring lunch, bring snacks, bring water, whatever you need to get through the session. Don't expect it to be provided for you if you're co-writing at someone's home. Sometimes it is, but quite often it's not. Another thing that's a real drag is that if you only have 8 hours to work with somebody, taking 2 hours out to go for a lunch eats into a big chunk of the day, and it could really make or break your song. So just come prepared, bring food, bring water, bring whatever it is that helps you get through the day, and your co-write will be that much better. Do be on time. Don't be late. At the most, 5 to 10 minutes late. And for the love of God, please don't be early. If you are early, wait at a Starbucks or around the corner. I have a lot of people that work with me at home, and the worst thing is when somebody shows up 15 minutes early. Just because I'm still in a state where I'm getting things ready, or maybe I'm getting myself ready. Maybe I'm just coming out of the shower and all of a sudden the doorbell rings and the person has to wait. It's kind of a drag. So I make sure that when we're supposed to work, the exact time that I'm ready to go. If you're in a co-writing situation and you're an artist, you're not a great writer, there's ways that you can contribute in that co-writing session, definitely. You can give lots of ideas, you can give concepts, you can give suggestions. Be active. Just be active in the session. You'll be much happier if your ideas form the bones of the song. Think about it. If you're the artist, then you're going to be wanting to sing the song for the rest of your life. And the more that you sort of drive the ship and say, I want the song to be about this and about that, and maybe this can happen in the song and that can happen, then you'll find at the end of the day, you've got a song that really, really works for you. And when you stand up there on stage, you can say that this really comes from your heart because you were involved. The worst thing is to be an artist and just sit back on your phone and let the other writers start writing the song for you, because it probably won't be truly your song by the end of the day. Now, that being said, if you are a writer or a producer and you're working with an artist, just know that your role is to listen to the artist. In fact, just be a good listener overall. Remember that your name or face is not on the album cover. It's the artist who will be featured, not you. So really listen to the artist. And quite often when you're working with an artist, it's a really good thing during a co-writing session to keep asking the artist, do you like what's happening? Do you like this song? Do you like this line? Do you like this musical hook? Do you like this melody? All of those things. And if you're constantly getting yeses throughout the day, then by the end of the day, then there's going to be a massive resounding yes, and they're going to walk out and be so excited about this song. You don't want to just sort of steamroll over the artist throughout the whole day and just be like, this is the way the song's going to be. You can't do that, because by the end of the day, the artist is going to think, they didn't listen to any of my input. They don't care about what it is that I want to say. This is not my song, this is their song, and I'm never going to use this. And what's the whole point of getting together and writing with an artist? You want to get that song on their album so that you start earning income and getting notoriety as a songwriter. So definitely listen to the artist and keep the artist in mind when you're working throughout the day. Do use whatever musical talent you have. If you can play an instrument, that is absolutely amazing. But that being said, if you don't play an instrument, you don't necessarily have to worry about it. There are tons of programs. There's tons of technology out there that can help you. Even on your phone or your iPad or your computer, you can have GarageBand and you can pull up a loop of something. There's so many apps, there's so many programs that you can use. The names are all escaping me, but definitely it's really, really easy to find something. There's even looping apps where you can sing an idea in, where you can sing a melody line or a bass line, and then that loops, and then you can put like a drum groove with your mouth, just, something like that, and then put, your own vocal bass line over, and then your own vocal melody on there. And that's a really quick way to just build a track and have somebody sort of work off of that. So don't worry about it if you can't play an instrument. There are so many ways that you can drag and drop loops in and make your track sound really, really amazing really quickly. Please, please, please do not be on social media during a session unless it has something to do with the song. It's kind of an insult to everybody if you're sitting back and you're just browsing social media while everybody else is working. We have this thing that we call the house of yes when we're working. And what that means is we basically try everything, no matter what. Whoever says something, we try it. Even if it sounds completely out there and like it's not going to be used for the song or something that's completely stupid, just go for it. Just try it and try using it and see if it fits in. Quite often what happens is that if it doesn't work, that you'll find, well, that doesn't work, but maybe if we twisted it around and used it like this, then suddenly that works, and it's really, really cool. Just if you make it the house of no, and you keep saying no to people throughout the whole session, guess what's going to happen if you keep being told no? Eventually you're going to shut down, and you're not going to give out any more ideas. So it's so much better to make it the house of yes, make it really positive, make it really happy, and make people feel like their ideas are, worthy and useful in the song. Even if they don't end up using any of the ideas by the end of the day, they still were contributing to the song, and it's also an equally important part to be doing that. So please be also active in the session. Be active in the session. It's very important to make sure that you are connected, that you're not having your mind wander or, other things are distracting you. Just keep yourself active and focused and really make it a joyful experience. Don't be a tune bully. This is something that we call somebody who walks into the room and says, well, here's the song and I've already got it laid out, and here's the chords and here's the melody and here's the lyrics and this is what I want it to be. And, you know, if somebody else comes up with an idea, then that tune bully usually is squashing that really, really quickly and saying, no, that's a terrible idea. You don't really think that's a good idea, do you? And it ends up being a really horrible situation for everybody. So don't be a tune bully, be open to everyone's ideas, and it's a co-write. It's not one person writing the song and everybody else sitting around watching that one person. It's everybody's ideas coming together and throwing everything into one pot and stirring it around, all the ideas mixed together to create something really, really cool. Do chase what's in the room. I've heard this being said many times, and it's really important. And what that means is just basically take everyone's strengths and weaknesses and moods and mix them together to create a unique song. So, for example, I know nothing about what it's like to be in a club with a bottle full of bub, but I've written a few songs like that because of the people that I was writing with. So it's just, you know what I mean? Like if you've got me with my personality, I live in the suburbs and I mow my lawn every week, and, you know, I'm a family man and that sort of thing. I sometimes work with people that go out to clubs all the time, or they party all the time or whatever. And it's just, that's kind of cool to like have these two different personalities coming together, and how can they mix together to create something really, really cool. The thing that I want to really stress when you do chase what's in the room is just with everyone's strengths and weaknesses, you come together to create a really, really good song, and you don't worry about, oh, let's write a song for Beyonce. Just worry about writing a really, really good song that Beyonce would, at the end of the day, think, wow, that's a great song, I want to use that. So much better to chase what's in the room rather than chase what's outside the room and try to make it, you know, something that maybe it won't work with the people that are in the room, if that makes sense. Do treat every session like a game of best ball. This is something that my publisher, Gary Furness at Sony ATV, mentioned to me. He said every great session should be a game of best ball, which is a type of golf game. And basically what it is that with best ball, you have 4 players or however many players, and you all start from the beginning. And you all hit the ball, and I'm terrible, and my ball goes this way, and somebody else, their ball goes that way, but eventually one person, their ball goes and lands really, really close to where we're supposed to go. We all then take the balls, all the different places where they've gone, and we bring it together and we move to that next place, whoever got it closest to the hole, and then we all shoot from that place. And then we all move again to wherever the best ball went for the next round. And then we do it again and again and again until we get all into the hole. So it's a really quick way to just get a game of golf happening where you're not stuck on one hole for hours trying to, you know, aim it the proper way. Use best ball as an example for your songwriting session, for your co-writing session. If you only have a few hours, it's the same concept. Everyone has ideas, everyone's throwing out ideas. Whatever the best idea is, you sort of go with that and then you move on. And then you all collect your best ideas from that point and move on. Best ideas from that point, move on. Best ideas from that point, move on. And then you'll find that you're reaching a really good song really, really quickly. So that's one thing to really sort of streamline your co-writing session if you have a limited amount of time. If you have days and days to work on a song, then you can definitely go down many, many different avenues and try things for a long period of time. But the very best thing is you have a day to work with an artist, they're in town, and that's it. Just do best ball and go right away really, really fast. Do take bathroom breaks for more than one reason. It's a really great way to come up with ideas. Really funny. Don't bring your phone into the bathroom. Just go to the bathroom and you will find that ideas pop into your head when you take a break from the session, when you remove yourself from the room and you're away. And sorry, this is going to be kind of rude, but I call it nature's vacuum. Something's coming out of you and something's coming into you. It just always happens. I can't tell you the amount of times that somebody's come back into the room after going to the bathroom and they say, I've got it. I've got the chorus idea and here it is. So bathroom breaks are great, or just going outside, looking at the trees, just keeping yourself away from the session. If you're stuck, just take a little breather and do something else. Don't bring your phone because the phone will distract and you won't get ideas. If you're looking at social media or whatever, checking your emails, checking your iMessage or whatever, just definitely just take a break and ideas will happen. Do not waste time worrying about the sound of the kick drum or the right tone of the guitar when you're in a co-writing session. All that really matters is the song, and we call this the campfire test. Campfire test is when you can write a song just on piano with vocal or guitar and vocal, or just drum and spoken word, whatever it is, just as basic as it can be, and make that rock. And if it really, really rocks and feels very powerful and everyone's freaking out when they hear it and they hear the chords and the melody and the lyrics and the whole song put together without any production, then you have yourself an amazing song. I've seen many sessions where people really get bogged down and they're like, yeah, but how's the kick drum going to sound? How's it going to slam on, the speakers and stuff? And honestly, I don't care about any of that when I'm writing a song. I just care about the emotional impact and how it's going to make me feel when I'm hearing that song played back. When the song is finished written, and only then, that's when I jump into production and figure everything out, but definitely not when I'm writing the song. That being said, there are many different sessions where it's a benefit to have a track already done when people are coming in to write with you. And I find that some people need a fully finished track in order to write over. Other people can write completely from scratch. My favorite personal way is definitely writing from scratch. So we do the campfire test for that method. Now, do not, unless it's an absolute emergency or your co-writers are treating you horribly, don't leave a session until it's completely over. If you have to leave, make sure that you arrange a time before leaving for a later date to complete the song. It's horrible if you say after half an hour, guess what, I gotta go, and leave the other people to write the song and you never return, but then you call later and you're like, am I still getting an equal split on that song? Chances are you're not. So just really try to make sure that if you have an emergency or anything like that, that you make an arrangement to get back together again to keep writing that song. Now, that being said, if the session is going horribly and people are treating you unfairly, just remember this is only songwriting and nobody's sick, nobody's dying. It's not surgery. It is absolutely okay to walk away from a horrible session as long as it's done nicely. As long as it's done professionally. You can't stand up and throw tables and all of that and then storm out. All that you really need to say is just, you know what, guys, I don't mean any disrespect here, but this song is really not for me. However, I don't want to ruin the song, so I think that you guys should continue writing this, and I will see you guys later. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's done cool and professionally. Do be a good person. Have the attitude of being a kid that's been given the keys to the candy store. Like anything in life, you need three things. You need talent, you need drive, you need personality. And missing any of these items will make you fall flat, just like a tripod with a camera that's missing a leg. You need talent, drive, and personality. Personality definitely being the very number one thing that you need. A great personality, just friendly, happy, not overly happy and annoying people, but just pleasant, and being so thrilled that you're in this session. Don't come into a session thinking, oh man, why do I have to be here? That's a vibe killer right away. Just, be cool and be open to things and open to everyone's ideas. Just generally being a good person overall. Do agree to equal writing splits when you're in a co-writing session. Don't count words. Don't say I did less, you did more at the end of the session. Just equal splits always. Please, please, please. Unless it's like painfully obvious that somebody's just been on their phone the entire time and hasn't said a word. That's something different. But if you're in a room with two other people, and so three people in total, and two of them are on fire and they're coming up with things, and the third person is also on fire but they're coming up with all the wrong things, you can't at the end of the day say, well, you don't deserve a part of this because none of your ideas went into the song. They were still there, they were still contributing. As long as everybody is contributing equally, good or bad, then it's equal splits always. No questions asked. It's the honorable thing to do. And also the last thing that you want to do is after the song is written and you've agreed to equal splits and then it goes out on a record, you don't want to come back after the fact and say, you know what, I think I deserve a little bit more now that it's having some success. I've had that happen to me as well, and guess what? That's the last time that I work with that songwriter. It's just, that has no place in this world, in the co-writing world, in being an honorable person. So just agree to equal splits and stick to it and sign a writing sheet. Sign a songwriter split sheet. Whatever it is, whether it's a piece of paper or whether it's a digital document, or I know there's an app out there called Audly, Auddly, that is absolutely fantastic for making digital split sheets and all the information about a song. You can put your lyrics in there, you can put the title, you can put MP3 bounces of the song as you're working along, and then there's another page on there where you can all sign your name and put all your information, your address, your IPI numbers for your PRO and your performing rights organization. And it's great. And it updates as people move on through life. So Auddly, Audly, really, really good for splits. Do not bring a song in that's almost completed, get other writers to work on it for the entire day, and then tell them at the end of the day that they're going to receive 5% of that song. Agree to a split like that beforehand, otherwise it's kind of a waste of everyone's time. I've had that happen as well, where I've worked with somebody and we've worked really, really hard and we've altered the whole song and we've song doctored it and made it really, really great and elevated it, and then I get told, well, you're going to receive 5% of the song or 10% of the song. It's just, I've just wasted an entire day to make basically very, very little, especially if you've made the song way, way better than it was at the very beginning. So talk about splits. If you're going to song doctor a song with somebody else, talk about splits beforehand and agree to it so that by the end of the day, you don't feel like you've just wasted your time. Do great and inspiring work. Have an amazing work ethic. Be amazing. Make other people think that you're a wizard. Find out what your talents are and just elevate that to a point where everybody is completely floored by what it is that you do. Make it so that when people are leaving the session, that they're absolutely happy, like so happy that they're happier than when they came in for all the right reasons, that they can't believe that they had a great time, that they had some great laughs, and they got amazing work out of you. That's great. Those people are then going to go out into the world and they're going to talk about you in a great way. And all of a sudden the word is going to spread that you are absolutely amazing and really cool to work with, and you create great product at the same time. And my last thing about the do's and don'ts for co-writing. A little bit preachy, but I do believe in this. Do be a force of positivity in this world. If you're writing songs for the masses to hear, I honestly believe that you have an obligation as a human being to spread positivity throughout the world, not negativity. If it's a sad song or whatever, there's got to be a silver lining in there somewhere. There's got to be a message. There's got to be something that makes people feel like a little bit happier than when they heard that song. Just be a force of positivity. There are many situations where I've been asked to write a certain type of song where it could take somebody really down a dark spiral, and I can't be a part of that. I have to find a way to make sure that everyone is happier when they heard that song rather than worse off by hearing that song. The very best thing that I've ever heard in my life was an email that I received from somebody who was going through experimental cancer treatment in Mexico. And they said that your song, sorry, my song, but they were just telling me, your song, I listen to it every day and it gives me inspiration to get through the day when I'm going through my treatment. And man, that is like the whole reason why I'm doing this. Obviously I'm, trying to pay the bills as well, but when I get told things like that, that just makes it all completely worth it what I'm doing, and it makes me want to work that much harder. So that's kind of it for co-writing. I really hope that you can get out there into the world and find people to write with. There's many organizations out there in the world to find people to co-write with. Here in Canada, there's the Songwriters Association of Canada that holds many different meetings where all sorts of writers come in from around town or from around the country. They meet up online. And that's a fantastic way to meet other writers and just say, hey, you know what? I'm really good at lyrics. You're really good at music. Why don't we get together and try something? Connect with people and network with people and write with 100 different people. And out of those 100 that you'll find that there's 30 that are really amazing that I really, really love, and just hold on to them, but keep networking and keep finding new people and really try to build your roster of talent that you want to work with. And you'll find that just your songs will start to take on a life of their own. They'll start to get out there into the world, and it's a recipe for success for sure. Co-writing is the way to go, unless you are somebody like Prince who can completely do everything on their own. But those people are very, very hard to come by. So I wish you well, and thank you for listening to this lesson, this episode of Rob Wells Music Talk, all about co-writing. We will see you next time.